Welcome to A Good and Family Affair, where love, family, and faith come together. Meet David and Dr. Cynthia Gooden, who with 35 years of marriage, 9 kids in a blended family, and over 25 years of experience helping couples just like you. Whether you're navigating marriage, parenting, or blending families, this is the place for honest advice and practical tools to build stronger relationships. Let's get started, because love and family are always worth it.
Well, hello there. We are David and Cynthia Gooden with A Gooden Family Affair, and this is our second episode of our very new podcast. We kind of take it from a situation of where you're frustrated, and we take you to some hope, and then we take you to a place of flourishing in your blended family. And so the last time in the first podcast, basically what we did is we told you a lot about us and a lot about the things that we went through personally to make it to where we are. And like I said, we've been married for 38 years. We have 9 children, and we actually had 7 outside parents that were involved in our relationship, and I guess we was involved in theirs too.
Yeah.
And it was some kind of roller coaster, and we just didn't have the coaching. We didn't have the people in our lives to help us to not only make our lives better for us, but to help us make our lives better for our children. Because it's children that actually pay the biggest prices when you have blended and step families coming together.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do this time is that we're going to give you some advice and focus in on some of the things that when you're looking at dating someone who has children, or you yourself is the one that's bringing a child into a relationship, let alone getting engaged or getting married. One of the things that you want to do is that you want to get some blended and step family, either pre-relationship counseling or pre-engagement counseling, because you have to be able to assess all the moving pieces that are going to be out there that's going to be involved in your relationship before you move forward. Because there's a lot of people that going into relationships with children that love each other and love each other a lot, but because of all the outside moving pieces and intangibles, it does not mean that they need to get married. They may need to stay friends.
That's right.
Okay? So one of the things we're going to talk about today are what are some of the things that you want to pay attention to beforehand.
Okay, before you get into that, could you talk about the difference in the nuclear family versus, those dynamics? Because I think that's important that people need to understand, the difference between those two. Can you talk about that?
You know what? That's actually a good point. I actually thought about that when I got started, but okay, you're in the spirit, sis. But a nuclear family is a family where you have a husband and a wife, and they have children, and everybody is biologically connected. There's no outside parents, no outside children at all. That's called a nuclear family. That's like supposed to be, that's like God's best, original, okay? A step family is when you have 2 people that are coming together in a relationship, and they get married, but they only have 1 child. That's coming into relationship. A blended family is when you have 2 people where both of them are coming into a relationship with children, and then they also end up having their own. And that's what we call a blended family, which is, I don't know why they use the word blended, because it is hard to blend.
Well, it's just like a blender, when you're blending things together, you don't really know what it's going to taste like or what it's going to look like for you until you get into blending these things together. Because just think of that as an analogy of blending things together. But of course, these are lives that you're blending together. So it's almost like a try and error, because you're gonna have errors because of the fact that you're not perfect. You're trying to figure things out. You're trying to move pieces. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of moving pieces in life, period. Life gonna always be lifing, so I like what you just said. I think that was very important that they know that on the top, that the difference between, what we had to go through, being
Yeah.
frustrated with one another. You were just always so cool,
I
so
still
you
am.
didn't, yeah, you are. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right, I
you
still
are.
am.
I can say that, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it just like, do this man ever get upset at all, about anything? But yes, you do.
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, you know what? When you said a blender, use the example of a blender. Now, one of the things that we learned from a guy who ministers on blended family that we love, which is Ron Deal, is that he said, basically, when you got a blended family, he said, we think of a blender and blending, but he said, but when you come and go into a blended family and you try to blend too quick, people get
Yes.
cut.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
people get hurt. So he said,
Yeah.
basically, when you come together with a blended family and you both have children that you're bringing into the relationship, you want to move more like a crock pot.
Crock pot, sizzling.
Right. You just want to put the pieces in there, and then over some time, real
Yeah.
slow,
Yeah.
let it start to kind of,
Because
come together.
I think we started that way. We cut some children.
Yeah.
We cut each other. So we went through that same thing. And then when we identified that we needed to slow down and we needed to examine ourselves, we needed to look at ourselves, period, because like I said in the first podcast that we had, is the kids are innocent.
They are.
They are just grandfathered into your relationship of a decision that you made to be with this individual person.
Right, right. Which is why you got to slow down. And we tell people that going into relationships with blended families or step families is that you want to dumb down your expectations of what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
All right. That way you want to undercommit so that you can kind of over deliver. Then that way, what ends up happening is that you get more into reality. You give yourself a chance to really kind of just kind of merge your way into this thing because you're feeling your way, because it's not like you're going into this relationship with children that you have been with all their lives from
right.
birth. It's a little bit different. So what we do, because we do a lot of counseling with blended step families, is that we kind of talk about all the moving pieces and the moving parts inside the house, inside your family, and outside your family. Because I think we even mentioned in the other podcast is that when you get in, how you get some people, they say, well, we want to do premarital counseling. Okay, well, if you're going to do premarital counseling, you need to do premarital blended and step family counseling if you're going into a blended
Yes.
family, because that's a totally different counseling session.
Dynamics, yeah.
Because one of the things about Cynthia and I is that we know the questions to ask that you don't want to ask. And we'll ask them because we know how how much important that that is going to be in your relationship. Or even just getting into relationships. When you see that you're getting into a relationship and you have a child or children, they have a child or children, one of the things you want to do, you want to get you some blended and step family pre-relationship counseling
Yes.
to see if you even need to move forward in that thing.
That's right.
And because there's just so much more. So when I say things that that you need to look at, well, here's some of the things that we kind of share with people and what you need to look at, just with all the moving pieces. One of the things is we always ask people, well, how long have you guys known each other?
Yes.
All right.
That's important.
Right. Just to see how long have you really known each other? Have the children been exposed to you guys' relationship and the possibility of you guys going forward in marriage?
Yeah.
All right. Another thing that we do, actually with all couples that we counsel, we ask them, said, how old are you?
That's right.
How old are the both of you? Why is that important? Well, we had a couple we was counseling this week, and they said, well, we're both 45. Okay, so if you're 45 years and you're getting ready to go into a relationship with a blended family with your kids, my kids, and our kids, that's a pretty good age to pretty much know what you're doing. You've been through some things, you know, you've got some maturity, you kind of know. But going into a relationship, that's only going to account for about 50% of what you're getting ready to experience.
Yeah.
All right, why do I say that? And you're 45 years old. Because one of the things that we learned in our own marriage, and this was after we were married probably 20 years, is that if you have two 45-year-olds that are getting married, all right, you got one 45-year-old that since they were born, they were coming up on this side of the mountain, you know, in a certain atmosphere, in an environment in their home, having different life altering experiences in their life that is responsible for their current mindset and how they look at the world, that now that's what's responsible for their worldview and how they think the world ought to go.
That's right.
Then you got somebody else that's coming up for 45 years on this side of the mountain, and they're in a completely different environment and a completely different atmosphere, and they're having different life-altering experiences in their life and in their family that ends up becoming responsible for how they think and how they think that the world ought to be. So in reality, what's getting ready to happen is that you got two 45-year-olds. You literally have 90 years of experience
Yeah.
between those two people that are getting ready to come up under one roof, and ain't nobody going home. Now you're getting ready to learn a whole lot of things about each other that you did not know. And that's why people say that the first 2-3 years of marriage, you know, if you make it through that, you know, then maybe you can make it that first 5 years. Why do people say that? Is because the first 2-3 years when you're married, you're sitting up there saying to yourself privately, did I make the right choice? You know, should I have married this person? Should I have done this? Was I ready for these children? Was I ready for this? You go through all of that, okay? So so you have to look at some things with a little bit more balance going in with the children, you know, especially, you know, but really take some time to really get to know each other, you know, and then one of the things that you want to know also is that if someone's bringing a child into a relationship with you, the child that's going to be in the home with you that has the outside parent, then what kind of relationship do they have with each other?
Yes.
You know, what kind of relationship does your significant other or your husband or wife do they have with that outside parent? What is that like? Okay. I mean, is that person paying child support, or you guys just have an arrangement?
Oh, yes.
You know, is that person, let's see, not just paying child support, do you have a court order, or are you guys just operating under a mutual agreement? What does that look like? If you get ready to go into a relationship with someone, these are things that you want to know ahead of time. You know, are there any court orders that need to be adjusted now that you guys may be getting ready to get married? These are things that you just have to talk about and that you have to look at. Now, we advise people to go, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, but we advise people to go through the court system. Why you want to go through the court system? Is because one day you're going to be involved with somebody else. You may get remarried, and you need to know what you got going on, what you got coming in, what's going on, what you got. Your new spouse need to know what you got going out, what responsibilities that you have, so that you can prepare your life to go forward and not leave too many things back, you know.
It's like loose ends.
Yeah, loose ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Balance is the key to life.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And I was thinking about what you were saying about the court order. Your ultimate goal is hoping that that significant other or that ex or boyfriend would just, you know, go and smooth sailing. But a lot of times it's not like that. You know, you have to go to court. You don't want to, but you need to go to court because you guys have so much tension with one another concerning the child, concerning what you need to pay or ought to pay. So it's so many different dynamics of pieces that need to be calculated. I even would say this: calculate the cost before you try to build the foundation of the house. You have to be,
especially a house like that.
oh,
It can
yes.
be done.
Oh, it can be done.
Yeah, it can be
yes,
done.
absolutely, it can be done. But there's some calculations that a person, an individual, need to calculate before they say "I do."
Yeah.
You know, it's so important.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you need to calculate is that when you go into a blended or step family, you need to calculate the season of your life that you're in.
Oh yes,
Like-
that's
Like,
wow.
because if you're in a situation where your kids are out of school, you know, and they're getting ready to go to college, you know, they're just out there just doing things, they're grown, then you have to, it would be good if you find someone who's kind of in that same season of their life where they got their kids gone, you know, and they're going to college and they've got their jobs and so on and so forth. That way, both of you can continue in the seasons of your life that you are. Because a lot of times what we do, we see families that are, maybe they got teenagers, 16, 17 years old, in a couple of years they're getting ready to be out of the house, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, they get together and here we got a new baby. All right, so we starting this thing out all over again and doing it, and just count. Those are things that will become very, very important to you, to know what season of your life are you in when you're actually looking for someone to, if you're divorced, if you're single, or just if you get ready to get into a relationship.
Well,
you know.
just to add to what you said, a lot of times if you have teenagers that graduate from high school, they may not want to leave home,
That's true too.
and they're still there. You know, if they're not ready, that's important. If they're not ready, they're just not ready. But as they grow into their 20s, a lot of times they're not getting along with the one of the parents, and
it could be their own parent,
oh,
biological
absolutely,
parent.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and they may not want to work. We get that a lot, and it's been causing a lot of conflicts in the relationship where the parents wants to divorce because if it's a bonus parent, a bonus child, they can't get along because they won't take out the trash or won't keep the house clean. You know, it's all kinds of things that happen in a relationship. That's why I said calculate the cost. It's so important that we calculate the cost before we try to build the foundation of the house, because a lot of times there's a lot of loose ends that need to be tightened up before you can move forward.
Well, usually when blended families get together, one of the things that happens is that because they're in love and because, you know, yeah, you're a nice person, you got somebody that's got kids, you know, you're going to love the child. You're going to, you don't go in saying, you know, I'm going to terrorize this child or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
But one of the things that we found is that when you go in, this is where we say what you have to do is that you have to kind of dumb down your expectations. You got to go into it slow, because when you go in to a situation with other people's children, one of the things that you want to do is that, number one, don't expect them after the wedding to call you mom or to call you dad, because you're
true.
not. Right? The first thing that
Yes.
happens is that you literally have to take about a year to develop a relationship with the child,
That's true.
to see what's going on. What are they doing? You know, how are they? What makes them tick? Let them know. Let the child know you really want to take time to get to know them. Okay? And then going into that second year, you'll notice that they start to treat you as if you were like an aunt or uncle or something,
Yes.
which means now they have accepted you as family in their life. And then going into that third year, you'll notice that they'll start to introduce you'll hear them talking to their friends, talking about, oh, that's my mom, that's my dad, that's my stepmom, that's my dad. Because one of the things that happens in relationships is that there's no given just because we now have a title as the head of the household, or I'm the dad now, and I'm the mom. No, a person can only receive from you to the degree of respect that they have for you as an individual, because respect from children is earned, not demanded.
Yes.
And it's earned by the contents of your character and how you carry yourself. So you got to take time on that. Then I hear a lot of people, especially on social media, talking about discipline when they come in and they're getting ready to get married to someone. They have children, and maybe the biological parent says, "Well, look, I'll do the disciplining." And I've actually seen social media videos where they say, "Well, look, you telling me, that I'm going to come in, I'm going to help take care of you, but I can't discipline the child. I can't discipline your child." Well, number one, there's something wrong when you coming in figuring out how you're gonna looking forward to disciplining someone else's child.
Yeah.
Okay,
Before you get to know them,
that's right. That takes
build a
time.
relationship.
Right. You
Yeah.
just that now there's different levels of discipline, because we're not talking about where you discipline, and these are things that two parents got to talk about. We're not talking about if somebody got a bad report at school or something like that, or something you're not doing with your room, and you say, "Hey, look, you're not gonna no iPads tonight. Put your phone up." We're not talking about that. But if you're talking about physically spanking a child, or giving a child a whooping with a belt or something like that, now you got to hold up for a little while on that. And the reason I say that is because you and the parent can go about your business doing the things that you guys want to do all you want to. But if you have a stepchild in that household, then one of the things you have to realize about that stepchild is not all your spouse's child.
That's true.
There's somebody else's child
That's
too.
right.
So you can't, and maybe that step parent outside, they don't know you like that. They don't know you, where you come from, and just the thought of you thinking that you can, take a belt and whoop their child or something. Now you need to ease up for a while. It may come to that one day, a few years down the road, but maybe not, but you just don't jump into that. There's levels of discipline that you
Yes.
guys have to deal with, but that is the last one that you deal with. We always tell people, let the biological parent start out disciplining the child. And then there are some ways that we can give some advice on what even helps that. But you got to talk about these things in the beginning.
Yes.
You just don't say, I'm gonna treat yours like mine, and that's just the way it's going to be. Because one of the things that happens also in blended families is that we have seen it, and boy, did we see it, is that you automatically, without even trying, start to develop a third eye and a third ear. And what does that mean? That means all of a sudden you have you looking at what's going on in the house, but now you got a third eye to see how she's treating your children, and how she's treating hers.
Yep.
But not only that, now you got a third ear now you're paying attention to her and her tone, and she paying attention to you and your tone
Yep.
on how you talk to your children and how you talk to theirs. These are things
Real.
that, you can't practice for this.
These are real life.
This is stuff that really, really, really
Yes.
happens. So you just have to, we got a lot. We could probably do 20 episodes on this, and we can't wait until we're actually interviewing another couple, that is going presently through some things, and we could get them on a live podcast, and we can just go through it right there as if we was in a counseling session or something, because there's just so many unknowns. But it's just like we were saying a little bit earlier. One of the things, if you're in a blended and step family and you're having a lot of problems, which most of them are, and they don't know where to go for help, and then one of the things that you have to do is you have to give yourself a little bit of slack and a little bit of credit, more credit than what you do. And the reason that you need to do that is because when you were going into these things, there's a lot of things that you innocently
That's right.
did not know that you did not know. So as you get to know better in some things, all we have to do is just to begin to do better. And it will not only benefit us, but it will benefit the children, because we left a lot of scars on our children because of what we didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
But as we begin to know better, we begin to do better. And nothing happened overnight. Took us between 10, 15 years to get the relationships with our children that we have today. And we thank God that they gave us the opportunity, to even win their respect, to be able to have the relationships that we have with them now, because they were grown. They didn't have to do anything. But we just thank God himself, for the relationships that we have with our children. But that came earned over a period of time of being there.
Yes.
A lot of apologizing, a lot of hearing our children tell us about how we were there or how we weren't there for them, while they were being raised. And it wasn't a time for us to say, you just don't understand where we were. You just don't know what we were going through. No, that don't mean crap to them, because they was only children.
That's right.
All right, that shouldn't have to go, through that like that. And plus, we know, and the children know, that they're just telling the truth. So what we
yeah.
want to do in a situation like that is not defend our dysfunction, but to
right.
apologize and to accept it and to man and woman up to it and just say, hey, you know what, you're right. I'm so sorry. I just didn't know. I just didn't do that, but, can we do this? And what will happen, you will set the groundwork for building a relationship with your children.
That's right.
That you wouldn't have been able to have, if you had not had
Yes.
the right attitude when they were doing it.
Yes. And another thing, just to expand on what you're saying, is listening is a skill. And a lot of times we don't have ears to hear what the children is saying. We want to put a wall there because we're not able to man up or woman up to our dysfunctions. But listening is so important. They want you to hear them out. And one thing I learned, that children is crying out for love. Time and love. They want to know that you love them. They want to know that you are listening to them, that you care about them. And that is so important in a child's life, that I learned over this duration of being married for 38 years. It was not the easiest thing because we didn't take the time to listen. We was in church all the time, learning the spiritual aspect, but there was no balance. That, as I said, balance is the key to life. And we didn't have that balance with how to be a mother, a father, a bonus mother or father. But now we understand, and the kids we love each other, but we wasn't listening to them. Now we have a lot of family time together. We're planning on doing more family functions together, I believe. That we enjoy our family. We enjoy being
really
a family because I just think without your family, that's the only place you can go to when you can't go anywhere else. You can always depend on your family. And we have, like I said, we have so much to share, and I'm still excited about the best is yet to come.
Yeah. And if you need to contact us for counseling, and we know there's the thousands of you out there that do, whether you say it or not, but we can't do 1,000, okay? But anyway, you can contact us at agoodenfamilyaffair.com. And all our counseling is virtual, so you can be anywhere in the country. And we're all about relationships. We really care about people. And if you ever counsel with us, you'll know that we really care about you as individuals and
Yes.
about what you're going through. And Cynthia has 2 books What's the name of your books?
Intercessory prayer and also reflection, embracing the little girl within.
Yeah, and I have two. One is called Wisdom from the Father that you may have never had, and the other one is called, well, that didn't work. Okay? So you can contact us at agoodandfamilyaffair.com, and either you be glad you did or you wish you had.